No, take your time.
No, take your time.
I didn't take the, but this is a picture of the castle itself. Another picture of it. This was the canal that we had to go over on the.
Is that a dog up there in the
That's
window?
a dog in the
Oh,
window with Hatta. Hatta was a relative of theirs who,
Okay.
gorgeous little animal.
Interesting.
And there is the canal at the, that we had the straddle, the power plant was on that. And these, well, then so we went over to the castle. He said you'd have to go over and meet the professor. We went over to meet the professor and his family. Now, he was a very distinguished looking man, chairman of the architecture department. And, let's see, his wife was extremely nice. They had 2 daughters, 15 and 16, 2 sons, 11 and 12. Now, the 2 daughters were very Americanized and very understanding of the situation. The 2 boys were still very German.
Oh, really?
They had been
Indoctrinated.
and they weren't ready to change. And then there was the young lady, Hatta, who was a good-looking little gal, who was staying with them. So they invited us to come back the next night for dinner. Now, the dining room is up on the 2nd floor of the castle. It's a huge room, big tables and chairs. We had a modest dinner with mostly vegetables. The whole family spoke to us in perfect English. The 16-year-old girl played the piano and spoke of her life during the war. We went back.
Now, what did she say about her life? Do you remember anything when she said?
No, nothing specific that I can remember, and nothing derogatory about any of the Americans. They were very afraid of the Russians that might come over and take over. They did not. They liked the troops that always treated them fine whenever they came through. So, but anyway, we went back again to see them, and this is the time I took this picture. This was a friend that I went with, and his relative, and then the 2 girls. They're beautiful gals.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Then on our 3rd trip back, the tank crew had come in. Tank company had taken over the castle and kicked them out.
Oh no!
Lock, stock, and barrel. And so they had to go to live with in one of the other houses that had taken them in. They had taken the 2 boys and the mother and father in, and the three girls had to find another house to go into. But they were very nice, and we talked for a long time. We went back a couple more times. Then the 2 girls invited me back a 3rd time, and the older girl had baked me a pie.
She had what?
Baked me a pie. So I was invited back with the 2 girls and the parents. We talked for a long time and so forth, and understood their situation, and I had a very nice time, but I wasn't, terribly social yet, but they did most of the talking.
Yeah.
And the next time the 2 of us went back, we had to tell them that we were leaving, we were being transferred. And the two girls said, "You got the kiss me on the cheek on the way by." Before they left. So I don't even remember their names. Probably will maybe recall it sometime. But it was lovely. It was a real nice episode.
Yeah.
In my,
Yeah. Now, at this point in time, the war was over.
the war was over. Oh yeah,
Okay.
the war was over. This was probably
European war,
the
not Japan.
probably in late May, early June. So
And this is Germany.
this
Yeah.
is in
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah.
This is down near Munich, right outside of Munich.
Okay.
You can have one of those copies.
Oh, thank you.
You each have one for each of there.
Great.
Now, let me see what I got.
Now, wait, you forgot to say where this.
This, the story of this. And when I was leaving, after having been over to the pie, the mother came running out and gave me this. She said, this is just a little memento. She said, I don't have anything from my house to give you, but I have this and I wanted you to have this. She said, and then she told me the story that she came from a family, her father was a general in the, what was the old?
Prussian.
Prussian,
Yeah.
in the Prussian army. And the Prussians, I suppose you know the history, they were, when Hitler came into power, he pretty much killed all the Prussians. And so he didn't want anybody taking over.
Threatening you. Yeah.
Threatening him. She said, this is a gift. She had been from a very proud family too, and
Had she written in there?
no,
or-
I wrote that in there,
Okay.
so I could remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, it's well fitted, isn't it?
Very beautiful.
See, I didn't notice there was anything in the bottom or not.
One, two,
I mean, why would you put those things in so Sharon?
Sharon doesn't
Oh,
mind it.
they don't, does
She
not
loves
bother
the
me.
cool air.
Oh, okay.
Nazi. Souvenir of Nazi.
Nothing journey, as I say, it's a very small town, it's not even on the map. So,
More of a little village, huh?
So
it's a
beautifully
village,
done.
yes.
It's just so.
But it was just, I'd say, a very nice episode of a very nice family, and a very proud family. Obviously, they were well thought of, and nobody disturbed them, but he kept on teaching it
Mhm.
at the university.
And they were able to live in this was the castle theirs, or they just
I
were
would
able
assume
to?
it was theirs.
Okay.
I don't know. It was on one side of the little town, and you had your little downtown area, and then they had housing around, and then off to the side was this fenced-in area with, it was a small castle, it wasn't a big one, it was, I think, 3 stories high.
Which was pretty typical in Germany, because they had so many small little
Oh, I
areas with castles.
With castles, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a safe place to be because every place of note got bombed. So,
It's amazing though that they spoke English.
Yes.
oh, a perfect
You know,
English.
it's funny
And
that
so
many-
well.
Well, so many European people all around the world speak English, but we rarely speak any other language.
I know,
Yes.
it's embarrassing when
It
you're in
is.
Europe.
so,
But English is sort of international.
Yeah.
So what would you like to get into next here? You want to go into the war, or you want to go into like growing up?
Should we do this growing up first?
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture in here somewhere. I want you to look at it, see if it jogged any. There it is. You've seen the picture, but I blew it up.
Yes, I have a small picture of this.
Yeah. Now that's the
This is-
family farm.
This was the original family farm, and this was the milk house and ice house.
Okay, that little building.
Yeah, well, it's not, it was a lot bigger than that, at least when I was small it was big. And the barn and the sallow. I had forgotten about the sallow. I was trying to think of where the sallow, or if it had a sallow. Yeah, and this is what my father had torn down just in 1935. Tore that whole section down. The ice house still, or the milk house and the ice house are still there. Outhouse had been moved. But this was all torn down. This is what he was building back up. Yeah, I got that in the story, so. Gee, this even shows you one of the cars that he, this may be, no, this is when the kid, with Kenneth and Wayne were a little small. How was that a car?
You may not have been born at this
Oh, I'm sure
picture.
I wouldn't have been born with this one.
Oh,
No, Andy, maybe.
maybe.
Possibly, but he was 4 years older than, or younger than Wayne. So, this is a fantastic picture. I like this size.
Yeah, you can see it so clear. You
You
can
can
still see the
everything so
details.
clear, yeah.
I think that's the advantage of old pictures.
I can just picture my father standing like that. That's the way he stood.
See.
There's certain clothes that,
Look how young he was.
can I give you this one? Am I right?
No.
Okay. You have to just listen to
Now,
this.
we're, and Roger probably knows this, but this home that they lived in and all of this, was this built by?
Built by him, yes.
And was it part of AJ's land, or?
Yes,
Okay.
that I got
As a
in here.
wedding,
Okay.
Yeah, it's a wedding.
Okay, I'll, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll just start reading it. and,
Okay.
We'll just stop me anywhere. And my father was a self-employed carpenter and a small-time farmer. When my mother and father were married, my paternal father, Grandpa A.J., gave them 40 acres of his property, the southeast corner of his property, as a wedding gift. And my father built the house on that, the barn, the ice house, the milk shed, and other houses as needed. So that's what you see, everything that was there, he built, because there was nothing on the property before, after we were married. As you say, he was more or less a small, we had a few cows, a couple horses, chickens, pigs, not many money, you know, when you have a farm, you think you make most of your money off of milk. And we only had probably 4 or 5 cows at the most at any one time. And so we didn't make any money on the cows. We make money on eggs. And we had a lot of food to eat, beef, pork, chickens. Mainly the money we had came from his carpentry crew. Now, mainly, well, the period that I remember would be the early 30s, when I was 5 years old or more. And there wasn't much work to be had.
Depression.
Depression. And earlier, they had moved to Dresser, had moved there for two straight years. Because, you know, driving back and forth today would be easy. It was a 15-minute drive, but back then it probably was a 2-hour drive each way. And but he built 2 houses in Dresser, and I know the whole family moved on there for years. Then they came back.
Where did they live? Where did they?
I have no idea where they lived. I thought they were in a house, but I have.
Was they rented a place
Rented.
temporarily?
Rented a place, yeah. I have an idea that back in those days, there were a lot of houses to rent.
Yeah, but
Anyway, our house, now we're back to our house that my father built. It had one big bedroom, one small bedroom, and a 3rd bedroom which wasn't finished. That was kind of a storage room and the stairway to the attic. Where your father practiced his first trombone.
Oh, cute.
Anyway, our house, the basement of our house, I remember because it was a play area, really, it was a sand floor, fine sand floor, real good sand. It had a large workbench. It had stairways to the outside and a stairway to the inside. Our attic was mostly unfinished. There was some of it finished, but we had a large furnace in the basement which broke down, and I remember the last few years we had a wood burning just heater in the main living area upstairs, and Carol and I had cut all the wood that we used for burning.
And now you had no electricity.
Oh God, no, electricity hadn't arrived in.
Nobody in the area had.
The only areas were small towns like Range, right within the Range area, the Creamery had a generator. They had a big steam boiler, generated enough electricity to take care of the little store and the tavern and the church and so forth there. 100 yards outside of the city, there was no electricity there either. But no, we did get telephones in the early 30s. It'd be 7 or 8 on the line, but we
Sure, party line.
party line things. Anyway, the
What prompt, now from a time frame perspective, what prompted the move to Range?
well, that was after my father died,
That was after your father died. Okay.
and we lost the farm.
Oh, so it was foreclosed.
When my father was building the new barn, he had to borrow $200 for the lumber. $200 from a bank in Turtle Lake. And of course, then when he died, why, there was no way of paying it back. And they let us live there from I think we moved when I was a sophomore in high school. So what would that be, about 1939 or something? So we stayed there anyway. Then somebody came in and bought the farm for $500.
Wow. Now, AJ was still alive when your dad died.
Yes, he was still alive, but
Yeah.
he was mentally wearing down fast.
Wearing down, okay.
And Edith and Rob took him in.
Okay.
Which was, the thing I remember about AJ, he wasn't a great conversationalist at this stage of the game, but especially to kids. He had, at Edith and Rob's, they had a big wooden stove, in the kitchen for, a wooden stove. They burned wood in the kitchen stove. And he had a pot of coffee on the stove. He boiled coffee. He put grounds in the coffee pot and boiled coffee. But that was there from the time he got up until he went to bed.
Definitely a coffee drinker.
I can relate.
And, but he was, after he went over there, they adopted Margaret and later Edwin. But the last couple of years that I remember him, he lived up in their unheated attic.
Oh my.
By choice.
Well, he had had a stroke, and I don't think he really moved. I don't know how they took care of him, very honest, because it was a big wide stairway that went up and doors opened up to the attic. And right to the one left side of it, they had put a mattress on the floor, and he stayed there. I suppose they pretty much took care of him as a baby.
Yeah, maybe. He probably didn't come down.
Probably couldn't. There was no way of coming down after he had the stroke.
Yeah.
And he had mental problems before that. I mean, the smaller strokes.
Yeah.
Uh, They probably kept the door open, to keep it warm.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was something I just remember as a small child, but I was, I don't remember, but it must have been 37, a couple of years after my father died, I think probably he died. I don't remember for sure. Anyway, we had a full basement, and things I remembered most about it was big and fun to play in. But every winter we had a where do I have this?
Is that the salt pork?
Salt pork, yeah.
Yeah, that's the second page.
What's on the second page?
Every winter.
Okay, fine. I'll start up at the top anyway. We were all athletes. We all loved baseball, softball, mainly baseball and football. When I was small, we had a baseball field right in the front yard. We were all small. As we grew up, we moved to 2 different fields, each one a little bit larger than the last one. But we were always playing ball.
Would you say that all of you, I know certainly my dad, and I know Andy, retained that interest in baseball their entire lives? I mean, my dad just listened to baseball. I can hear the Gopher games. I can
Oh, the
see
football
him.
was especially,
And where did that come from? Was it because your parents encouraged you to do that, or?
well, I don't know. I suppose it started with Kenneth and Wayne as they were growing up, and the interest in.
You got 4 boys.
Yeah, right.
And I can remember as a child listening to every Green Bay Packer game.
Yeah.
Now, how did you listen to them? Because
On
you
the
didn't have
radio.
electricity.
Oh,
Probably a
we had a
crystal.
battery radio.
Battery radio.
Oh, yeah. A car battery
Sure.
with wires coming down the back. So, oh God, when you hit me with that one, I forgot it. And later on, near closer to 40, I used to listen to the car radio.
Oh,
Sure.
sure.
Farm had a lot of memories, and I remember down in the basement every winter we had a barrel of salt pork.
Slaughtered a pig. Yeah.
Slaughtered a pig and ate it throughout the winter months. It's like when the ships were coming over from they always had salt pork.
Yep, because it keep forever.
So you just cut up pig and
Cut up
brine?
the pig and put it in brine, yeah.
Okay. And that preserved it.
That preserved it. And we had shelves of canned goods that my mother had made. Outside on the property, we had one apple tree. It wasn't a big apple, but a small apple tree. Then there were 5 or 6 plum trees. And I have no idea why we had so many plum trees. We weren't great plum eaters.
Yeah.
And on the south side of the house, we had a huge grapevine, big blue grapes or the blue-black ones, covered the whole side of the house, and also we always had a big garden there, which we had raised up. Ate a lot of vegetables like that. My father also repaired radios. I remember this because he kept them under the beds.
Oh.
He had so many to fix that he kept them under the beds. He did a lot. He traded cars. I remember, we had a touring car. It was a big one, no top. And it was the first car they let me sit in the driver's seat. I sat on my father's lap and ran off the road.
Oh.
It was a real fancy one. Anyway, he decided, I don't know how long we had, probably not a few months. He took Kenneth, who probably was 13 or 14, in with him to Amory, and the Dodge dealer in the Amory at that time swapped it for 2 Model T Fords.
Oh.
And Janet stole one of them home.
Oh my gosh.
13. Of course, they were.
Of course, he was a lot more grown up than the rest.
Yeah,
of
he
it.
probably
As
driven.
we came along, he was the helping hand in the whole house and the outside. Oh, then Mark, I told you about
Yeah,
working at the pea
Minnie.
factory with Minnie Johnson. My father.
What a nice thing that she
Oh,
took
it
the
was a
time to
nice-
tell you that, though.
She was
Yeah.
a kind of a grouchy old gal, but she just had such a fond memory of him.
Mhm.
And anyway, in 1935, my father tore down the old barn and started a new one. He did all but finish the roof. He was also putting a room on Lloyd and Elizabeth's house at the same time, and that is where he was coming home from work the night that he was killed in an auto accident. The lumber for the roof was stacked in our yard, and then at a later date, in the fall of that year, the neighbors, relatives, and friends all came over and finished the barn, I think, in 2 days. But speaking of that accident, I was telling you last night, Oliver came over and told us he had been in an accident, and we would all come back with him to Dave Carlson's house. And I remember crying my head off in the yard, and they finally, Oliver took us back to August and Emma's and Harold and I, and we went to bed with him and woke up in the morning and
And this is where Andy, or Harold, remembers the
remembers the
loons.
loons, yeah, because they
He
had the
said
big
that
lake.
haunted him the rest of his life. Because he always connected loons.
The
with-
loons, they had a
Dad's
lot of
death.
loons on that lake. That was a lake, the lake actually was, it touched the corner of Edwin Carlson's property. It was right across from August and Emma, and they had the other part of the lake. And then Swenson's property was on the other side.
Where Grandma lived when she came from the
Yes, where she
orphanage?
lived. And then the Anderson property came down in the corner, from the other corner. Whether it touched the lake or not, I don't remember, but it was right in that area. So
Do you have a copy of the plat map from Polk County at that time? I have it at home,
You do?
so I thought if you were
Okay.
interested, I could certainly.
yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Gosh, you can make
Yeah.
a copy. Anyway, we just recalling, we used to get visits from, I'm going to put one of those in because it's going to get my ear.
Yes, go right
I
ahead.
don't have cotton in my ears, as a matter of fact.
If you